And um, hey, everybody, we're going to get going in just a couple minutes. For those of you that are here already, thank you. Um, but we will be here, everyone. Will we will get going as soon as everyone is here. So let's just hang on a couple seconds and then we'll get going. Thank you for being on time. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. We're gonna get going in just a minute. We'll just sort of let stragglers in. So thank you for being on time. We'll get going very, very shortly. Just let's give everyone another minute or so, and then we will jump right in. Great. See some familiar names and some new names is awesome. Everybody, we'll get going in just another minute or so. We'll just give the stragglers a second to get in here. We'll start it just very shortly. We're just people are just trickling in. All right, well, it's a couple minutes after, so we're going to get going. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here to our webinar about our Protofacturing Hardware Accelerator. I'm Ken Rother. We're all going to introduce ourselves in just a moment. As we do this, if you have questions, there's a Q&A panel you can use, and we will see those questions and get to them in a timely fashion. So if you have a question, feel free to drop it in there. So here's what we're going to cover tonight. Oops, I jumped ahead. Here's what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to go over the team and our philosophy, go over an overview of the program, what the expectations are of you, of us, the facility, and some of the resources, and and then we'll take questions after all of that. So very quickly, um, this is a picture actually of our current summer prototyping folks, if I remember correctly. Yes, looking at the faces. So this is a program that's going on right now. It's a 10-week program. And buried in here are all of the participants and most of the instructors who are leading this, and we'll get to introduce a few of those people as we go. But our team is made up of a whole bunch of people. So it's made up of engineers, hardware engineers, both mechanical and electrical, and many of them have software skills. There's Cornell faculty, um, myself included, who are part of the teaching team. We have student engineers, experienced entrepreneurs who act as mentors, and then specific technical mentors. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And this is on a lovely balcony at Rev. So um, we'll do some quick intros. So I'm Ken Rother. I'm the founding director of our hardware programs, of which there are now three. I'm also the director of Rev, the actual facility where we host these. I teach business entrepreneurship up at the business school at Cornell as part of the MBA program, and I work in a number of commercialization programs. I work for the NSF and an I-Corps program, some other programs around Cornell, and I also serve on a couple of investment committees, venture capital committees. So kind of all things startup. And um, I have a I'm not formally an electrical engineer, but I have a pretty decent knowledge of electronics. But I'm very focused in this program around business development, getting the business model right, and kind of all things startup. And we share the deck with you. You'll see my LinkedIn. I think Deanna's here for the beginning, so she's going to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deanna Coker. I'm the Associate Director of our hardware programs. My background is mechanical engineering and industrial design. I've worked on a variety of different things over the last 4 or 5 years now across ag tech, med tech, climate tech. Really just, love product and love working with people that are passionate about making change in the world. So really work across the board here on the technical side. I do have a little bit of a background now with the I-Core program and with more of the business around the startup, but I primarily operate on the engineering side of our programs. My real focus right now, I really love the Protofacturing program because it's this kind of sweet spot in the middle of scrappy prototyping and preparing for manufacture. And I've really enjoyed that cleanup area. So that's what I'm excited for about this program. I'm looking forward to seeing applications. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, Hazen is a product development engineer with us. He's got a mechanical engineering background, but he's also kind of got a bit of a robotics background, so some electronics. And he's full time with us, and he'd be one of the folks that you'd be interacting with, helping you with your project. Anna Knapp is with us full time, and she is a PhD. She has a PhD in ag from UC Davis, but her real specialty is electrical engineering. She is a accomplished electrical engineer, and she helps teams very much on the electrical engineering side, designing circuits, bringing them to life, breadboarding them, and so forth. So you'll be working with Anna, teams that have projects that have electrical or electronic components. She's very big on that side of things. Um, Destiny, did you want to introduce yourself and Sydney?
Yes. Hi, guys. My name is Destiny Carrion. I'm the next slide, but I'm a program coordinator and, well, yeah, I'll start with myself. I'm a program coordinator. I work alongside Sydney Golding. We work on everything organization relating to the hardware accelerators, so just kind of administrative. I am a recent graduate from IC. I'm currently working on the hardware accelerators, EIRs, which are entrepreneurs in residence, and I'm starting working on our dairy runway. As far as protofacturing, I'm really big on the application process right now. As far as Sydney, we work in tandem, so on a lot of the same programs. She also does I-Core, and she's focusing on mentor meetings, program schedule, etc. But we can help you with all-encompassing things, so reach out to us both.
Our colleague Jen Smith is the director of all food and ag programs at CREA, the Center for Regional Economic Advancement, the group that we're all a part of. And we sort of intersect specifically on our ag tech teams that are funded by grants that Jen has secured. She runs a very large program called Grow New York, which is $1 million first prize competition for promoting agriculture technologies up in New York State. And that's anything from a food to a process to a seed to a chemical, anything along the way. And you'll see Jen around the program, but she's knows very well connected both at Cornell and outside Cornell, especially in the ag space. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our philosophy, how we think about things. And those of you who are in our prototyping program, this will sound hauntingly familiar. We're very big on you sort of developing both the business model and the technology simultaneously. So um, you hopefully you've done, if you've come out of our prototyping program or somewhere else, you've done some work already. You've developed a prototype. You've done some work on, yeah, there is a customer who has a problem. We're going to continue to lean on the lean startup methodology. We're still going to continue to use the business model canvas as kind of a framing document. Um, at this point, you should be, and now you really need to involve the customer in getting their feedback, understanding, are you hitting the right pain point? And then are you hitting the pain point the right way? So there is the problem to solve, and then are you solving the problem the right way? And that can only really be done if you're, talking and working with customers. Um, our goal is to surround you with support, as much support as we can give, and you should be thinking about validating both your business model, continuing to figure out what is that model going to look like, what is it you're going to bring to market, how are you going to get the word out, how are you going to sell it, as well as really refining the technology to get it ready to go into manufacturing. So let me go through the overview. So what is protofactoring, by the way? Just to give you a little bit of a sense of where this came from. We're in our 10th year of running a program called Prototyping, and Prototyping is a program for early stage hardware entrepreneurs who are looking to validate an idea. Can I make this thing? Is there anyone who wants it? Am I solving a problem? Do they really care? And several years ago, we started another program called manufacturing. So once you know exactly what you want to make and you've finalized your design and you're good to go, there's a lot of steps to bring something to life in the manufacturing process. We realized there was a gap actually of sort of getting to design freeze. So usually prototyping ends and you sort of have something, but it isn't the final thing you want to make. And you need to figure that out before you even conceive of, finding a manufacturer and going through that process. So protofactoring, as you can guess from the word, gets us from prototyping to manufacturing. And that's where the program lies. So this is how it kind of fits in our thinking, and sort of the way to think about this picture is down the right side, you kind of have the business side of things, and on the left side, the hardware side of things. Um, so you don't have to have been in our prototyping program to go into protofactoring. Some people have, it's a natural progression, but people may have worked on prototypes in some other setting, be an academic setting, in their garage, in a lab, whatever. So, or at a company. So, a whole mix of people come here. But it sort of sits in the middle, as I said, of people figuring out, okay, do I actually know what my customer wants and who they are? And now, okay, I need to get to design freeze before I go to manufacturing. Protofactoring continues to be iterative, and that's why it's sort of portrayed as this circle. Once you get to design freeze and you start to think about manufacturing, iteration, except in, really catastrophic situations, should have stopped. You can't keep changing things and go to manufacturing. You need to freeze that design and now say, okay, there's a number of steps. And that's what we do in our manufacturing program. So the goal of this program is to get you to that frozen design so that you can then start to think about how would you get this product manufactured. And we have another program that will start in January that covers that space. And there are other programs like Scale for Climate Tech up in Rochester that also cover the manufacturing side of things. So as it says here, it kind of spans that early stage development where you have a proof of concept prototype or an MVP up to something that really is good to go. It is really the kind of design freeze engineering validation model, and you're good to go. So what are the goals? So at the end of the day, from a business side, you've got a validated business model and very much know how you're going to sell the channel, because that's going to dictate margins and what your bill of materials can cost and so forth, and how are you going to get the word out? How expensive is it to market? There are many other parts of the business model, but these two, you already probably know who your customer is and what problem you're solving for them, but these two can really impact your cost, and therefore can impact what you can charge for something. Um, on the prototyping side, we're trying to get to a really pilot, finalized design, as I say, I like to say a frozen design. So it might be something you can put in people's hands, they can actually use in a work environment, whatever that environment is. But it isn't manufactured using the final processes in any way, shape, or form. But it's well documented, kind of the feature set is well understood. And then lastly, one of the program goals is to get you the right assets you will need to get sales, get early stage relationships, and finalize a funding strategy. Because one of the biggest challenges in hardware is you need money to manufacture. I mean, it's just the cold hard truth, and it's expensive, and you got to figure out how to do that. So is this program right for you? Well, as it says here, what should you have? You should have a mostly functional prototype. Mostly functional prototype means it's probably, holds together really well. Maybe it has a custom circuit board. It's no longer made out of just breadboarding, if it's electronics, from breadboarding modules together, but you have a sense of what the electronic circuit is going to look like. You've got decent files for laser cutting and 3D printing. You're not mass manufacturing. You have really good evidence of product market fit from the customer discovery process already. You're going to need some funding at this point because you're going to be doing more iterations, more prototyping. So you're going to need some funding, and that's a kind of variable amount, depends what you're doing. And you're certainly going to need a funding strategy as you go to manufacturing. Um, who's it not? If you've already got a product you're manufacturing in volume, this isn't for you. If you think there are ways you'd like to um, refine that manufacturing process, then maybe our next program, our manufacturing program in January, makes sense. Look, if you've got a full team of engineers, like you've got a team up and running, good for you. Again, this may or may not be the right program for you because you've got everything going. Now, maybe some of the business side would be helpful. Um, and if you've lined up manufacturers, you've done all your due diligence, you know who they are, you got a full, package of documentation together. This may not be the program because that's what we're doing inside this program. Now, look, everyone who applies, you'll get hear from us. Either we'll interview you or at least going to get an email with more questions. So we'll want to be sure. So it's a very easy application. So, if you're not sure, don't rule yourself out. Let's hear from you. So we have various tracks in this program, in all of our programs. Climate tech, very much focused on decarbonization of the economy, although we will look at other areas, let's say water, water cleaning and so forth, but very, very much focused on decarbonization. Ag tech, things that will support the food chain anywhere from getting it into the ground, keeping track of it, turning it into food, machines, what have you, sensors and so forth. MedTech, we look at both therapeutic and diagnostic devices for human health, although sometimes those start actually in the veterinary side and then move over to human health. And then we have this open track or classic track, as we say, for things that don't fit in this category, in any of these categories. So let me just sort of briefly touch like why do we do this? Well, first of all, these tracks are funded differently, or we're grant funded. We're a nonprofit. We're grant funded, and we collect grants to help pay for. Excuse me. Excuse me one second. We collect grants to fund these programs, so we have these industries, we have industry specific tracks. So what you're going to get in the climate tech track is industry specific mentorship, people who know that, as well as connections to other folks in the track, which can be really, really helpful. And ag tech, this is sponsored by the USDA through a grant called University Centers. So again, very similarly, you're going to get support. A lot of what we do is applicable to everybody, but then there's very specific support in terms of, what you need to focus on, what's important to that, how that track kind of measures success, where you might get funding. There are some funders who only will, fund life sciences, some will only fund ag. So we kind of help you work through all of that. Same thing for med tech. We have a strong relationship with Weill Cornell. So that might help there. Again, this is funded by a different grant from the from the EDA called Build to Scale. Um, and the medtech one has its own complications because there's often FDA clearances and so forth that are needed. And then Classic Track kind of has everything else. And the way we think about it is the Mark Andreessen, software wrapped in plastic. A lot of things in the Classic Track are a thing with electronics in it, sensors, lights, motors, what have you, something that moves, something that sits on a counter or whatever. Um, it's worth saying right now, this is a physical product program, so we don't accept pure software solutions. There needs to be a physical aspect to it. Now, of course, many physical products have apps that partner with them, and that's totally fine, but there needs to be a physical thing. It doesn't have to have electronics in any of the tracks. It can be just a thing. We've had medtech things that are just devices that don't have electronics. Think about just a basic thing like a syringe. There's no electronics in a syringe. But here are some things we've seen in the past: femtech, various kind of wearables, things focused on social good, things like that. So those are the kind of things. And again, if you're not sure, don't worry about it. We will talk with you and we will sort of get you in the right track. It's important for us that we get you in the right track because when we report back to our funders, we talk about, how many teams we took in which track, what are they working on, and so forth. So we'll make sure you get to the right place. And often there's crossover. It's very common, especially between ag and climate, that something is covering both. And that's okay. That's great. So what does the calendar look like for this program? So this is a virtual program, first of all. It's run out of Rev. I think a startup works, but it's a virtual program. We meet on Monday afternoons, and we have two sessions typically. One is a very business focused session, and one is a technical session. You're expected to attend both, though. You don't pick and choose. And by the way, we're looking for consistent attendance from one or more people on the team. We don't want to see one person on the first of the month and another person on the eighth of the month. We want you to dedicate people. You can have more than one person attend. That's totally fine, but we want to see consistency. Um, Throughout the program, and you can see the dates here, we're going to do report outs. This is a chance for everyone to hear how everyone's doing, kind of learn from each other, kind of see the progress, share ideas and so forth. So you can see we have these report out sessions on a few Wednesday afternoons. And then the program itself will begin late August, just after our semester starts at Cornell, and it ends at beginning of that second week in December. And somewhere near the end of that, we'll start out, accepting applications for our manufacturing program. Um, so as I said, virtual sessions on Zoom, 3 to 5. Doesn't say here we really want cameras on. We want active participation. This is not sit back. Every team is assigned a mentor, or as we call them, entrepreneur in residence. At a minimum, you're expected to meet with them once a month. They can help you. These are coaches, business coaches, as you're developing your fundraising strategy, your pitch deck, sales materials, so forth. Those are really good things that can help you with. A number of the mentors are quite technical and have engineering degrees themselves, but they're not there to help you with the engineering side of things. They're help you with the business side of things. Now we structure the program. We have two tiers, we call it. We have a development tier and an advising tier. So let me talk a little bit about those two tiers. Um, the development tier is where we're actually applying our own engineering resources to your project. So um, we're going to help you, whether it's with CAD work, electronic design work, we're going to help you with that work um, and do some of that work with you and for you. Um, and what we're going to look for there is the teams we can help the most. Like, where do we have expertise that we can move those teams the farthest? Now, the other tier is our advising group. So everything in advising is also in development. Advising, often these are teams that have they're a little more fully formed themselves. They don't actually need our engineering support at all. Um, it's much more business focused, but we're still going to help. You're still going to get all the sessions, all the documentation, all the templates, all the assessments, all the mentor meetings. You'll still get a monthly engineering review just to make sure we're all on the same page and it's helpful. And this is something we can talk about more in the when we do the interviews. But really, what we're looking for in the development group is where it makes sense for us. We have limited resources to apply those resources to help with engineering. But ultimately, when we think about these, startups, product startups, they need their own engineering team eventually. Like, you can't lean on us to do all of your engineering. You need to use this to get an engineering team in place. Um, What about expectations, depending which track you're in? Well, in both cases, we want to know that there's a main point of contact um, for the mentor, but in the case of development, there's also a main point of contact for the engineering support team. We expect you to attend all the sessions, video on. In the development side, we're going to work with you on completing your documentation package. We will look at it at the advising side, but we'll spend more time there. And really, we're going to have a much more vested interest in your timeline in the development side. So if we're going to put resources towards your project, we need to agree to a timeline that we're all going to work to. In the advising side, you probably have your own engineering resources and the timeline, is more under your own control. Um, so here are some criteria that I think I kind of talked about a little bit. But a good example, you have a two-person team. You're dedicated to this. Like, at this point, if you're not full time, that's your decision, but it's also something we're going to factor as to, what are the chances of success? What's your background? What are you working on? do we, and really what it matters, what we're working on is, can we help you? And you have some funding available for the next 4 months because we're going to be doing prototyping with you. You're going to be needing to order parts and so forth. You're going to need some amount of funding in order for that to happen. But again, we'll share these slides with you. We can go through some of that in more detail. But our expertise is sort of mechanical, electrical side of things. Um, if you have something, that's, very specific around some sort of malleable material or some sort of, chemical process, may not be a perfect fit. But we want everyone to apply, and then we will help you. Um, Here is a list of the resources you're going to get. A lot of them are similar, but on the development side, there's more technology side. We're going to do some CAD modeling. We're going to help you with prototyping, electronics, schematic development, and so forth. On the advising side, the assumption is you have those things already, but there's only so many teams we can take on the development side. So as we meet the teams, we will assess, is this a team we can work with that makes the most sense for us to dig in with. This is our facility at Rev. These are some nice new pictures of what it looks like. We have an electronics bench. You can see on the left, we have a pick and place machine and a circuit printer. And then in the middle, classic soldering irons and scopes and power supplies and whatever, a whole pile of 3D printers, FDM and resin printers. We've got various CNC machines inside our shop. Also drill press, bandsaw, all that kind of stuff, some assembly tables. So pretty full featured place to help we can get a fair amount done there. Um, One other thing that it doesn't say here, just to be clear, we don't take equity in your company. It doesn't cost anything in this program. If you're accepted into program, great. We're here to help create entrepreneurs. That's what our funding is for. We'd love it if you interact, if you're from outside the area, that you interact with manufacturers in the area. But our job is to help create entrepreneurs. So we don't take equity in your company. We don't own your IP. Any IP you create is your IP. Now, if you're bringing IP that you developed with a university and a university relationship, that's on you to negotiate your access to it. But anything you create in our shop, we create, you create. Well, you own that. And again, we don't take any equity. So I'm going to stop there. I'll leave this up, and now I'd love to take some questions. Uh, um, I'd love to take some questions. So please put them in the Q&A panel, and we'll kind of go from there. And again, the application is really straightforward. It's not a big deal. Don't get too fussed about which track you're in. We can talk about that in the interview process. Um, if we see an interview application we don't quite understand, we'll ask you some questions, and then get to an interview step. So the sooner the better. Um, we want to get everyone admitted by August the 1st. So we're a few weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from that. We've already had a number of applications. So I'm here to answer questions. Type them into the Q&A, and we'll go from there. And if not, that's okay too. And we're going to, Destiny, we're going to share this deck, right? Yeah, great.
Yes.
Cool. All right, but I will wait for a couple minutes. It's 6:30. I'll wait for a couple minutes. If you don't have a question, you're welcome to drop off. If you want to hold it in private, then you can ask it during the interview. But get your application in as quickly as you can so we can get those interviews scheduled with a member of our team, and we can kind of go from there. But otherwise, I'm not seeing any questions, so I don't want to keep anybody. And hopefully we'll see some applications. So we've already seen a whole bunch. Okay, thoughtfully guessed. We have an electrical engineering team who is very busy, but he needs help with the redesign of our prototype. Yes, quite possibly that might be a good fit for our team. Absolutely. So uh, we'll discuss in the interview kind of what kind of help you need. Electrical engineering, as you probably know, covers a lot of areas. So is it an area that we have expertise? We have a lot of expertise, but yeah, quite possibly that may make sense. And also we want to make sure that your engineer, is wants to and can collaborate with us, they have the time to do that. So great question. Thank you for asking. No, how many teams are you taking? We don't have a hard upper band actually. We'll probably take around, I mean, probably a maximum would be 20. But probably be a little less than that. In the end of the day, when we look at our numbers, I'm guessing we'll probably end up with 15 or 16. But if there are more that are qualified, that's probably as high as we can go. We only have so much capacity on the mentoring side also. So that's another a limiting factor. But again, just apply. The sooner the better. Cool. Well, I don't know where you are. Where I am, it's like a million degrees. So stay cool, everybody. Looking forward to seeing your applications, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for your time this evening. Appreciate everyone who's here. Oh, does your team have the ability to build the product themselves? Does your team have to have the ability to build the product themselves? Or yeah, you need to be heading in the direction that you're going to have that ability. There's no point, um, if you just have the idea, so to speak. Well, to come into this program, you need to have done prototyping already. So the question is, where'd that prototyping happen? Um, but you're going to need to have skills to work with contract manufacturers, finish design, and so forth. So we can talk about an interview if you're sort of over the course of the program, assembling that team and bringing those people on board. That might work. But ultimately, you can't launch a hardware company, without hardware people, just like you can't launch a software company without software people. Um, yeah, good question. All right. Oh, Mike. Uh, so we do DFM work in our next program, in our manufacturing program. So this program is to help people get to the point that they're now ready to do DFM work, if you will. So it might be, Mike, and again, we'll talk on interview, that you're farther along, and it's our manufacturing program that starts in January, where we work with people on DFM, DFX, tooling, and so forth. Is this for companies only? Yeah. At this point, to come into this program, you need to either have a legal entity, or you're going to have one like within a few weeks of joining. You don't have to have one the day you start, but basically, yeah, you're not gonna you're not gonna go to create a product without a legal entity. Uh, do you provide chemical engineering support? Not really. We might be able to point you with people, so apply. But yeah, if it's more of a chemical engineering kind of solution, we may be able to point you at other people. So let's take a look at what you're talking about. But it's not our forte. So that may not be a great fit. Now, there's kind of been hybrids. There's people who've had things that were kind of lab test equipment, roboticized equipment, and so forth, and that we could help with, but not the actual formulations of the assays and things like that. So uh, it depends what you're doing. But it's sort of, we don't have fume, to answer it another way, we don't have fume hoods. So if it's a product that needs fume hoods and fancy stirring devices, we're probably not the people for you. And if it's a life sciences thing, then one of the organizations I might point you to is IndieBio, which is part of the Hacks portfolio of incubators. Cool. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Awesome. And hey, Hazen, I'm going to let you all go, and we will see your application shortly, I hope. Thanks for being here, everybody. Take care. Thank you, Destiny. Thanks for coming, Hazen.
Thank you. Uh, I'm glad the video
It's
actually
just
started
us.
working.
Yeah, my bad. I was like clicking onto the other video, to the other link as well on my calendar. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not updated on there. I sent it out to everybody who I thought was going to be at the meeting. So that's my bad. I didn't know you were coming.
no, all good, all good. Is there another one coming?
I think this is it because I thought we were supposed to have three, and I was just looking, but I don't see anything on the calendar. But I'll double check and
Yeah.
let you know
If
because we.
there's
Mhm.
yeah. If there's
Because
one last one, then I'll like to come too.
okay,
Yeah.
yes, I'll look, and if there is, I'll send you an invite.
Cool.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go take our night back. 'Cause it's so
No,
like I can't believe I'm still working.
I'm thinking about my bed right this instant.
I'm right by it, but I'm too hot to get in it. Like I need to take a shower. Like my house is
Yeah,
on
yeah.
fire. I have no air conditioner, so it's just me and my fan.
Oh my God.
That's why I'm
Well,
on my bed. Like,
maybe that's why we gotta work more. It's like if we're in Rev, we get free air conditioning
it's great.
at
Free air
those.
conditioner, free baked goods.
They exactly, and free coffee, free tea, free
Mhm.
water.
Are you drinking tea
Um,
right now?
I am. I mean, you probably clocked me with my mug.
I did. I was like, he wasn't kidding. Because it's like 1,000 degrees outside. You're drinking hot tea.
Well, yeah,
Is
but it's
your
not 1,000 degrees inside
oh,
Rev right now.
you're at Rev. Okay.
Yeah,
You're in
I'm chilling. I'm
mm,
here. I'm here. But yeah, we gotta like get an air mattress so that we could just like, you know,
just there. I mean, I feel like the whole prototyping team lives there. Like I came in on a Saturday because I was like in the commons. I had to use the bathroom and I was like, why are there people here?
yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah. They're like, get a life. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
When I walked in and I had just been like at the park. So I'm in like, street clothes. I'm in like small shorts and I'm like I kept looking around for like Tom or Ken. I was like I don't want
no,
anyone
no,
to see me right now. Like
yeah. I'm pretty sure they're not here usually over the weekends.
yeah, I was like
So
anyone who's in charge of me, like please don't see me right now. Like
yeah, exactly. I,
presentable.
yeah, I pulled up in like borderline like pajamas here, just for like I don't know why. Like I just needed to like get a print and then go back, and I'm like, pray to God, don't let anybody be here.
You're fine. One of my colleagues, like, I don't know, actually everybody does like open toe sandals. I think it should be illegal to have open toe sandals in the office. I don't want to see your toes.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I'm like, this is kind of weird, but I guess I'm not gonna say anything about it.
I mean, imagine, like, can you put your toes away?
Like, excuse me, I'm gonna call HR on this.
Like it's bothering me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll check because I swore we had three, unless I'm crazy. But there should be another one,
I have no idea.
and if
Okay.
not, then I don't know. Do you have? Yeah, because you don't really have much of like like you're not like in the Rev calendar and stuff like that, right?
Wait, which calendar?
Like you just get
Like,
the invites, but you're not like in the Google like the Rev like EGA calendar, right?
yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I just keep getting in fights.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. All right. Well, I will slack you. Drink your tea. I'm gonna go, I don't know, take an ice bath like an NFL player.
yep,
I'll
that's healthy, I think. Okay.
possibly. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
Bye.